I'm Natasha Chillingarian.
I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times. When I am bored or I'm sitting on an airplane waiting to take off, I Google dumb things. And I want to play kind of a group game with the three of us, Natasha, producer Zach, based on my Google search history. Okay. I'm calling this game Top 5 What?
Okay.
Okay, here's what I do. I do this a lot. I love Googling or asking Siri, what are the top 5 insert whatever thought I have. I do it all the time. And I want to play this with the two of you. And these are things I have Googled or asked Siri, and I've gotten the answers to. And you two can kind of work together and come up, see if you can come up with some of the answers that I got from these.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So kind of a Family Feud situation?
Yeah, sure. A little bit. So, for instance, this is an easy one. Easy-ish ones. Like I asked, the question is, what are the 5 top-selling candies in the U.S.? Do you guys have guesses on that?
M&M's.
Yes, that's one.
I don't know. Hershey's.
Yep.
Just chocolate bar. Snickers.
Yep. You have 3.
Reese's Cups.
That's number 1.
All right.
Oh.
Top seller.
So we're
Kit
4
Kats.
for 4.
You have Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Snickers, Hershey's milk chocolate bars, M&M's. You have number 5 that you're missing.
Kit Kat?
Nope. Think not chocolate.
Skittles.
Correct.
All right.
Okay. Now, here's another one. This is a little bit harder. What are the 5 biggest movie hits of all time adjusted for inflation? And these are just U.S. box office, not international. Because if you don't adjust for inflation, all the movies are Marvel, you know.
Oh,
so
I see.
Anyway,
okay.
So these are older movies.
Yeah, so Gone with the Wind.
Number 1, $3.9 billion.
Yeah, I thought I knew that.
Okay.
What about Star Wars?
That is number 2.
Yay!
$3.5 billion.
Is Titanic on there?
Number 5,
Okay.
$2.4 billion. And that is the newest movie.
Okay, that's a
So
good
you have
hint.
2 more.
What about The Wizard of Oz?
That's a great guess, but no.
Okay.
Think musical.
Sound
Also
of
like
Music?
correct.
Okay, yeah.
That's number 3 at $2.9 billion.
Okay, so we're missing one?
Yep. Do you want me to give you the director?
Sure.
Steven Spielberg.
E.T.
Correct.
E.T. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, E.T.
That was the top movie the year I was born.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. God, I remember going to the movie. They re-released that in like the late 80s. And I took a girlfriend to the movies and she cried the whole movie. I remember.
Oh, boy.
Like, she just wouldn't stop crying. Anyway, it was fun. Okay.
Yeah, I remember it was written in my baby book. Like, it was like, what were some of the top pop culture things happening? It's E.T.
The main thing I know about E.T. re-release is people got real up in arms because wasn't it E.T. that they digitally they changed the guns to walkie-talkies?
Yep. That was stupid. Then they changed it back to guns. So, okay, two more things here.
Okay.
I remember I did this one on an airplane. What are the top, I always screwed this up how to say it. What are the 5 top selling dish soap brands?
Palmolive.
That's number 2.
Okay.
Dawn?
That's number 1.
One. Joy, isn't that a
That's number 5.
Okay. So what are some others?
Kroger store brand?
No, but there's like, it's a real old brand is number 3.
Oh, I may not know.
And then there's the environmental brand. You know that one? It's 2 words.
Oh, God. Yeah. There's like Myers or something?
No, that's a good guess. The old brand is Ajax.
Oh, okay.
They still make that.
They do, yeah. But it's just an old brand. It's been around forever. The other environmental one is Seventh Generation.
Oh, I was thinking about that, yeah.
With the little leaf on it. Okay,
right.
Last one. We'll do this really quick. This one made me laugh.
Michael, where were you flying to that you were Googling dish soap brands?
This is just crap I thought of. I think I might have been coming back from Orlando last Luminaries or something, you know?
Okay.
It was an interesting peek into your brain, I was going to say.
Okay, you'll like this one then.
Okay.
This was just kind of while I was at home doing nothing. Name the top 5 most common annoyances left-handed people deal with in this right-handed world.
School desk?
Yeah.
Yes. Right-handed desk, number 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Scissors.
Number 3.
Okay.
What else?
Go back to school.
What?
What else do you do in a school?
I mean, is it like abstract, like getting ink or pencil on your
It's
hand?
not, that is the number one.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
annoyance.
Like we're getting ink on your hand when you're writing.
Yeah, that is number 1 listed here.
Good, yeah.
So you have one more school and one more in the kitchen items.
The kitchen.
Think about stuff you use in the kitchen that is absolutely always right-handed.
I mean, utensils are
no. The audience is screaming right now. They all know what it is.
Everyone else is just cooking. I don't know, knife cutting board. But that's not really.
Can openers.
Oh, can opener. Yeah, good call.
Okay, the last one in school. Can you think?
Like a pencil sharpener, like on the
No,
wall?
that's it. I was surprised that wasn't one. No, it's spiral notebooks or binders because your hand is laying on the spiral notebook.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, if we were left-handed, we would know more.
Yeah. These are just 3 other ones I didn't want to do, but that I actually looked up. Top 5 ways to lose a finger. Top 5 distances someone has thrown a piece of bacon. And then the last one, 5 things you should not say to a priest. That is my Google history, everybody. Hi, welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, we are going to be talking with Carrie Foran Sepulveda. She is Vice President of Fraud and Physical Security at the one and only Navy Federal Credit Union. We're going to be talking about the latest fraud and scam trends impacting credit unions and their members and what we can do about it. And we really can do a lot about it. She was so good.
She really was, yeah. I thought the tips were really foolproof because they're so sophisticated now.
Yes.
But yeah, it's really good. Yeah, we get into it.
But there's one so old school thing that she hammers home that we were both just taken like, oh my God, that is the best piece of advice. So stay tuned for that. First up, we do have to take a break from the week. Check in with Natasha. Hey, Ann.
Hey, Em.
How are you?
I am good.
Yeah. What's new in your world?
I do have a new addition to the household.
Please.
And my little baby puppy just joined the household on, like I said, I guess 8 or 9 days ago. Yeah. So it has just been, it's been a lot. It has been a whirlwind. She is the sweetest thing.
Oh, can we put a picture with this episode?
Oh, absolutely. I love showing off pictures.
Okay.
I have become one of those people that posts about their dog all the time now. So
wonderful.
I apologize for that if you think it's annoying.
No.
But just a little bit about her. So she is a 4-month-old female white Pomeranian.
Okay.
She's tiny. She only weighs a little over 4 pounds currently.
Wow. Cute.
And her name is Deanie. And she's named after the Natalie Wood character in the old 60s movie Splendor in the Grass. And she also has a theme song.
Whoa. What? I don't know this.
Hey Deanie by Sean Cassidy.
Right.
And
it's
just this dumb little teen boppy song.
It is.
Back then, but
you're not wrong. But that's cute.
She is just the cutest. And a lot of work, of course. So we're working on potty training, which is, it's been.
It is what it is. Yeah.
It's a process.
Sure. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's wonderful.
It's been wonderful. Yeah.
Besides picking up poop, what you been watching?
Yeah. Well, because of the time, how much time it's taken up taking care of Deanie, I haven't really watched anything too significant, but I will mention one documentary. Again, I've just been tired by the time I sit down to watch something. So it's just something mindless.
Yeah.
And so it was a full documentary, not a series, but just one, like a movie length on HBO, The Secrets of the 12 Tribes Cult. And hey, Zach, just if you would like to chime in, please feel free to. I don't know if you've seen this one yet. If not, you definitely should. So this is a cult I'd never heard of before. It was led by this religious leader, Gene Spriggs.
Okay.
And I guess it attracted a lot of kind of hippies. It was like
Sure.
commune style. And I guess it formed before, who's the guy? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the
Charles
name.
Manson?
No, the drinking the Kool-Aid.
Jim Jones.
Jim Jones. Yeah, the Jim Jones. That came out I guess after it had already been established.
Sure.
And I guess they said, look, after that happened, then they started calling us a cult. They had these delis called the Yellow Deli, and I guess it was a kind of a cool restaurant, like a real kind of hippie theme. Okay. But I guess they just put all of the young, the kids in there to work, and it was slave labor type work or whatever.
God.
It was a really fun watch. Very disturbing stuff that went on, especially towards the children, which is really bad. But and there's a guy who came out of it who's trying to reunite, and they don't want to talk to him. And there's also you talked about losing a finger earlier in the intro. Stay tuned for, if you do watch it, there's a connection with that's very disturbing about
in the deli, I assume.
Well, it wasn't in the deli, it was in the meat
slicer.
It was regarding a meat grinder.
Of course it
did. Anyway, so there's anyway, Secrets of the 12 Tribes Cult. That was delicious. My latest disturbing recommendation.
What platform's that on?
HBO.
Okay. I'm sure Zach will check that out.
I will. I also was wondering, did Meat Grinder or Cult show up in the top 5 ways to lose a finger?
No, it did not. But, oh my God. Okay, great. Cults. Great. Hooray.
Okay. All right. What about you? Non-documentary.
Nope.
For the week.
I do have an allergic reaction to documentaries, but I finally started off the year back in January thinking, I want to watch a movie series I've never seen. I've mentioned it, started on the path of the Twilight movies. All 5 of them.
Wow.
And
okay. Kind of late to that game, but yeah.
I talked about it on a previous episode sometime, but finished all 5 of them. And the main takeaway, I think the best any of them got rated was 2.5 stars.
Oh, really? Even the first one?
The first one was the best one, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Breaking Dawn Part 1 was awful. I gave it 1.5 stars. And then in Breaking Dawn Part 2, I gave it 2 stars. God, it was fun to watch, but they were stupid. I could not figure out how these became so popular. I assume the books are better than the movies. I'm not going to read the books.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother at this point.
But anyway, I finished those. Glad to be done, but it was a fun little ride. The Twilight movies.
Okay, good. So that isn't, okay, how many hours total was that?
Hours total? They're way too freaking long. That's a good question. Probably about 8 hours or so. 9.
Okay, so 8 hours of your life you can't get back.
Maybe. It might be more than that. I'm not, while you're talking, I'll do some math here.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on making it through. That was definitely a fun time thinking back to the aughts and
Well, you had all the books, I remember.
I did have the books. Yeah. I brought that up. Now I recall I did bring that up on the last podcast.
Right.
Yeah. I read them and I guess I don't remember reading them really, but I guess I did. And I watched most of the movies, but I didn't get all the way to, I may have watched the first Breaking Dawn or I may not have. I know I definitely didn't watch the second Breaking Dawn. At that point, I was just done with the whole thing. But
dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing some math.
Yeah.
Well, again, I know you got to talk about the interview coming up. I'm going to do some math while you're talking.
Okay. Yeah, but while you're doing the math, I have one more question on the Twilight. What was it about was there some bad CGI in there? Because it's kind of dated.
The worst CGI you'll ever see in a movie involved the baby. Renesmee.
Yeah. Yep. Remember Renesmee? Yeah.
Unbelievably terrible CGI. It really was awful. And they kept showing it. I'm like, you know how bad this is, right? Stop showing it. It really takes you out of the movie. Not that you need much to pull you out of that movie, but the CGI was atrocious.
Yeah, I guess they couldn't have used a real baby, did they? Did they use any real children in that role?
No.
It was all CGI?
All CGI.
Huh. Ugh.
Oh, I did the math.
Oh, okay. So what's
if you add up all 5 movies in the Twilight series, it is 10.15 hours.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of time you would.
That's too much. No, that's depressing. So,
well, hopefully you got something out of it.
I did. It was entertaining, but they were just really stupid.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to our interview.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a really great time. I thought it was really fascinating talking with Carrie about fraud and scams, kind of what Navy's seeing, being one of such a big credit union. They're kind of, what they're seeing is probably reflective of what the industry is seeing for sure. So she's now leading that whole department over fraud, but she's gone through an interesting journey up until then at Navy. Been there for 12 years, I believe. Gone through some different roles, including education lending and member service.
Yep.
We spent a fair bit of time talking about romance scams, which, we just, had Valentine's Day, and we tend to hear about them as far as story pitches more, but of course it's a year-round thing. And I just find that so fascinating because, as we know, I love my true crime documentaries, and there are some really good ones about people getting tricked, sucked in, vulnerable at the time when they're wanting to make it like a romantic connection, and then they're like clouded.
Right.
But yeah, we talk about that, and she has some really great like suggestions for not only for credit unions, but then also just for the public and for members. One in particular, one tip for families, especially keeping like their older family members safe.
It was so good.
This is an incredible tip.
Yeah.
That really is a way to bypass these these scammers, which are just using, they're using deep fake videos. They're using AI to trick people more and more. Yeah, we got to have some ways to get around that. So she does a really great job of giving us those tips. And we also get to know her a lot more at the end of the episode, as always, hear about her family.
You are going to fall in love with her family.
Yes, we love them. So anyway, just stay tuned. We have all of that coming up next. Joining us in the virtual studio today is Carrie Foran Sepulveda. She is Vice President of Fraud and Physical Security at our friends over at Navy Federal Credit Union. We love these guys. Carrie, welcome to Shared Accounts.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so let's, your first time on the pod. I know we've had some others from Navy here with us before, including your CEO. So we just always love hearing from you guys being so big. And, I love how you're, really kind of setting trends and can really help give some good tips for other credit unions that listen to our show. So let's get to know you first a little bit, Carrie. Just looking at your career journey at Navy Federal, it looks like you've held a variety of positions at the credit union over the years, including a few focused on education lending. Is that correct?
That is.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So I was curious, so now being in the fraud area, what led you to make the transition from some of these past positions at Navy Federal over to the area of fraud and security?
Sure. So Navy Federal has grown tremendously since I've been here. We've basically tripled in size in a variety of metrics over the last 14 years or so.
Yeah.
But we've always been a really well-aligned company, and I think we've remained that way. And one of the ways that we kind of have emphasized over the years of how we have this deep connectedness, that if the goal is to serve the members, as you move up in your leadership journey, you really have to have a deep appreciation of all the different ways, different capabilities we have to have working together to serve our members well. So that's sort of the story of how I was enticed into trying different jobs, but I started as a lending analyst, and I was very fortunate to be there when we started our new private student loans product. And so that gave me my first lead into leadership and an opportunity to start and really grow that portfolio. And from there, I got the opportunity to move over to lead our membership division. And membership division definitely ends up, I'm sure, like many credit unions, being a bit of a jack of all trades. But I learned a lot about our survivor support team, where we really take care of accounts after a member passes away, working really closely with their loved ones. I grew from having a team of like 10 to a team of like 200. So really expanding my leadership skills in that way. And then a big part of membership, of course, is welcoming new members. So for me, that really was the connection to security, the KYC portion, where we have to make sure we know the identities and verify the identities of new members. I worked really closely with my now boss, Chip Kohlweiler, here in security in that project. And so when the time came to say, all right, you got to keep expanding your knowledge and the areas of expertise. And so I'd sort of worked in a product area, worked in that really service member focused area. And security has really been my chance to grow my expertise in more of a risk-focused area and think about how we have all these great things we want to do, but we need to do them safely and securely, and getting to have an opportunity to spend some time in my career doing that.
Carrie, you mentioned 14 years. Is that how long you've been there?
Yeah, 2012. So I guess I'm rounding myself up by like 3 months, but yes.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I was trying to put a time frame on everything because you've had quite the path there at Navy Federal so far, and in your current position, which in leading strategy for the Fraud and Physical Security Division, was fascinating to us. We think the title is actually pretty frightening in a way, but I think pretty awesome.
Intimidating, yeah.
Yeah, it's really intimidating. But what are your key responsibilities, and what would you say are your key focus areas right now?
Sure. So I'm really lucky. I have a really interesting team that kind of gets to wrap around and support both the fraud and physical. Sometimes we call it our
Okay.
global security side. It also includes the part where we interface with law enforcement. But
Yeah.
for me, my teams all sort of support the work of those two major partners, the fraud team, the detection team that's out there trying to stop the fraud from happening, and the physical security and global security side that really focuses on some cyber and a lot of physical threats. So I've got a couple different groups. One is a pure strategy group. That's where we're trying to communicate clearly the strategic priorities, build
Okay.
clarity for team members across the division. So just this division, my boss leads about 1,000 people. So there's a lot of folks we want to communicate clearly with. I also have the pleasure of leading a quality assurance team to make sure we're doing everything the right way. Same thing with our training
Okay.
team that I also lead. So another group that makes sure that our investigators know what we need them to do, how we need them to do it. They also help with training across a variety of other functions, but of course, our biggest group is our fraud investigators. I've also got an
Yeah.
analytics team. And so on the analytics team, our goal there, we have about 1 million dashboards as a conservative number there. But the dashboards are really looking
Yeah.
at every possible work stream when it comes to fraud. So whether that's ID theft, card-related fraud, first-party
Yeah.
fraud, anything, all of those different ones, we're monitoring all the different trends all the time so that we can use those to tip off our detection teams, understand
Yep.
our fraud trends, and really do all of our planning. And then finally, the last team I have is a scams team, and we're just getting that stood up this year. But that's really one saying we've done a lot in the fraud space, so that
Yeah.
unauthorized transaction, but we're seeing a lot of the criminal momentum, unfortunately, move to the authorized fraud or scam side of the house.
Wait, how many time zones are all of these teams located?
We are
Like,
primarily located in Vienna, Virginia, and Pensacola, Florida, but I
okay.
certainly have some remote colleagues as well.
Yeah.
You're out there in California.
Okay, because I was just picturing you. Well, I guess I'm just up all the time every day now because my teams are everywhere.
It is
So,
very
okay, I'm
dynamic,
glad
but
they're
not
kind of
quite
located on the East
that
Coast.
dynamic. Yeah, mostly East Coast and Central Time. Yes. If you've ever been down to Pensacola, they're just across the border into
Great.
Central Time. So we do have a little bit of fun with that from time to time.
I used to live down in Fort Walton Beach as a child
Then you know the
years
bomb.
ago, right next to Pensacola. So,
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Carrie, you mentioned scams. I wanted to dive into that a bit more next. Wanted to ask you specifically about a certain kind of scam, romance scams. It's funny, we get it around Valentine's Day at CU Times. We'll get a lot of
Sure.
story pitches for about that. But obviously, this is something that goes on, year round. It's not just for Valentine's Day. But anyway, yeah, it's a crazy thing. But I wanted to ask, how common would you say those are right now among Navy Federal members, and what are the signs that you look for as a credit union to see if someone might be a victim of a romance scam from your perspective?
Sure. So I think this one's really interesting. And there's a group that we work with called GASA, the Global Anti-Scam Alliance, and it's actually a cross-industry group. And through that group, I've actually had the chance to meet some folks who work for the platform. So think Match.com. And it's been
Yeah.
really interesting to really think about, especially for romance scams, that if you kind of make a mental image of a timeline, so much of what starts a romance scam is well before there's any signs at Navy Federal, right? The first interactions are on that dating site, over the phone, all these places where there's really nothing for Navy Federal to see. And so we really pick it up when we start to see some red flags in their financial transactions. But that can be, they might have been talking to somebody for weeks or months by the time it gets to that. But for us, we're always looking
Right.
for behavioral things. What are they doing with their money that
yeah.
just is not something they've done before? And obviously, we all grow and change throughout our financial lives. So some change is normal and to be expected. But there's also some things that we start to see. So We have a whole list of red flags that we're always reviewing and making sure they really capture all the threats that we see. But it's typically things like, are you sending a wire and you haven't ever sent a wire before, or it's been years? Do you have any written wire instructions that you're referring to, or is it, what's kind of going on there? We can kind of tell the difference between somebody who's clearly buying a house and maybe not. Is it international out of nowhere? Is it above a dollar threshold that's somewhat unreasonable or very significant to that individual member? Any of those things that start to give us a pattern, or if we start to see that it's, again, it's an international wire for a large amount of money, or we see somebody who's never done anything with crypto before and all of a sudden they're trying to move tens of thousands of dollars to do crypto. Again, right? Some people who are going to invest in crypto, they'll have to do it for a first time eventually. But for us, that really signals, when do we need to engage with this member and try to ask some probing questions and say, do you really know what's going on? So for us, a big thing was last year we started saying no to wires, which I'm sure, since our audience, I believe, is mostly other credit union members and credit union employees, it was a really big deal to say no to members and say there's just some of these that are so clearly lighting up every red flag we have about fraud. And so for us, it was a big decision we've made, and we've saved millions of members' dollars having said no to things we're almost certain. I mean, you can never prove it if they don't come back to you, but we're almost certain they were scams. And that's money, it's member money, because that's the thing about a scam, is that the financial penalty, or the financial liability rather, is on the member themselves. Unlike fraud, where if it's an unauthorized transaction, right, that's for the credit union, we take the financial responsibility, but this is member dollars. And so whenever I talk to my colleagues about this, I try to remind myself, like, lots of times, especially at a credit union as big as Navy Federal, we're talking about really big numbers, but they're kind of these corporate dollars. They're a little bit different than when you think about, hey, my own, that you're looking at your own checking account and think about how you would feel about that number when it's coming out of your personal account, not Navy Federal scale dollars. So I think that really helps people to understand the severe impact that it has on our members when they fall victim to a scam.
May I ask, are you using a mix of both human eyeballs and AI to find these red flags?
Yes, there's definitely human eyeballs. There's definitely a lot of data. Some of it has AI components, but we also, I would say, from all of our expertise in general, there's just a ton of data in a variety of different ways. So some of the red flags I described, you probably heard me. Those are pretty simple. If then, right? Like, if international, then red flag.
Yeah.
And one red flag is not enough to get us to stop something, but that preponderance. But we are looking at more and more things. There's a ton of tools. We're constantly talking to new vendors, some of our existing vendors. How can we keep ratcheting up our sophistication and speed? Because we know that's what's happening by the scammers as well.
Well, can you talk a bit about on the human aspect of this, which I love that you were approaching this, it appears, from a very empathetic standpoint, and I love that. Can you talk a bit about the psychological impact these scams may have on some victims, your members potentially? And if you all suspect, or another credit union suspects, one of their members is becoming a victim of one, what's the best way to approach a member and talk to them about it without causing shame, any sort of embarrassment?
Yeah. So I think for us, it's always about trying to ask the probing questions, right? In this space, we talk about break the spell, right? What's it going to take for this person to realize that they've fallen for a scam? And then what will we do then? So we do try to approach it with a lot of empathy, where we're trying to help them say, hey, does this seem right? Does this feel right? And really bring them into the conversation to help them understand that we are not trying to stop them from getting rich. We're not trying to stop them from whatever they think they're doing, but really trying to peel back to say, hey, this doesn't seem quite right. One bit of data that we're just starting to work with is one that is looking at bad accounts across different financial institutions. And we're hoping that that'll be really powerful with members. So we can say, listen, I know you want to spend this money, but we already have this account on a bad list. We know that people have been scammed and are being asked to send money to this account before. Things like that, where we can try to break in some of that objective truth. And then from there, if we're able to kind of get them to see the light, then we're really looking on how can we try to make this better, right? So like I said, right, it's really their money that they've lost and we're not financially liable, but we are going to send that hold harmless to the other financial institution. If there are any funds that we can recall, we will try to do that, and really figuring out all the best ways for us to try to make that member as whole as possible. So we've had, depends on how they sent the money, where they sent the money, and how fast the scammers moved it out of that account. But we've had some good success there, and we're really working on more ways to keep doing that so we can hopefully ease some of the financial burden that is associated with these scams.
Fantastic.
Okay. Carrie, just a couple more questions on the romance scams before we move on. First, I need to ask you something very important. Have you watched The Tinder Swindler? Have you heard of it?
Yes,
This reminds me so much of that. It's very much, it was like fall in love with this guy. And then it's like, oh, I need 10,000, can you wire me I'm having this big emergency. And yeah, anyway, have people watch that. Maybe then they'll.
Yes. Yeah.
And then just diving just a little more deep into these romance scams, have you seen them become more sophisticated over time? And like, are the scammers using advanced technology more to trick their victims, like say by using deep fake videos to say, oh, here's a video of me saying, hey, good morning, baby, but it's like a fake, with their fake, not who they really look like, but like catfish style.
Yeah.
Heard of that in some of these documentaries because I watch a lot of these. If you can't already tell,
Yeah.
What are some ways that they're tricking people more these days with technology?
Absolutely. So I kind of think about if anybody's ever worked on like a marketing funnel, you're always thinking about like, what does this look like? So the big thing that they're able to do with AI right now is that they're able to do things at scale. So perhaps I certainly have gotten a text that's like, hey, how are you? And then it's about to fall into hey, it's a wrong number. And I'm going to start my connection with you that way. Or being actually even on the platforms, right? They're going to start these conversations. And because a lot of those initial connections can be made at scale using chatbots, they're really able to it's really a numbers game for them at the end of the day, right? Lots of us are going to see them and walk away, but somebody who's in a vulnerable position, and any of us could be in that vulnerable position at some point in our lives, are going to be looking for that connection, and they're going to find a way to connect in a way that just is really compelling. So I think that's the foundational piece is the scale. There is still definitely human trafficking, especially in Southeast Asia. It's part of organized crime. It really is kind of this massive problem. But you also now, even smaller criminal groups can create the scale of those large ones. And then from there, they're able to, as you described, like when you start to see, okay, this person is like, this is a connection. Well, at some point, I got to send a picture. So how many pictures can I send that look real and would seem like it's really part
Yeah.
of an evolving relationship that I could do that, or I could send that voice memo. And the big thing is that, right, that ability to break through language barriers. Because before, right, as soon as there's an accent that doesn't line up or the grammar isn't making any sense, the native English speaker or whatever the native language the victim speaks, like they're going to get suspicious if things aren't lining up. But now there's so many tools that can create that illusion and really keep it going. Someone's not going to get to that spidey sense of it doesn't seem quite right if the pictures look real, the voice makes sense for who you're seeing a picture of. As those things keep aligning, that keeps building that trust and reinforcing the connection while they're avoiding red flags and deepening that sense of connection with the victim.
What are you telling your members, Carrie, or just in general, what steps do you think consumers should be taking to protect themselves in these situations, in making connections online?
Yeah, so I'm always wondering if my friends are listening to this and I'm saying, oh, I go to I've been to plenty of weddings where the people have met online, so you know who you are.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
not like it's 2026. It's not like people don't meet real people online and form real
Of course.
relationships, right? Like that is
Right.
completely part of normal life. But I think the biggest thing I
Yeah.
would say is just know going into it, if you're going to do online dating, that the platforms are working very hard, right? I've met great people working hard on this problem from that side, but they're always going to be able to find a few that get through. So there will always be bots and there'll always be scammers on these platforms. So if anything, just go into it knowing that there's a real threat. It's not just allegedly it's out
Sure.
there, it's a real threat. The next thing
Yeah.
I'd say is like a lot of times when you get sort of into this all digital, all cybersphere way of trying to understand things, the best thing you can do is take a step out. If you're going to do online dating, do you have that friend, family member, confidant that you could say, hey, I'm online dating. This person seems too good to be true, or something seems not quite right. Like, do you have that person in
Yeah.
your real life who really knows you, who they themselves don't think that they're falling in love, and they're going to be in a little bit of a better spot to be able to say,
Yeah.
I just think this sounds a little shady. And then my next
Yep.
one.
I like this. I like this buddy system. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yep.
handy.
I
So
like
you're
to think
not,
it's good
yeah,
dating
when
advice in
you're
general,
like
right?
vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally
Absolutely.
agree. Yeah, for
Absolutely.
dating and swimming.
Dating and
Yeah.
swimming, exactly. And then I'd say, for any time that you're talking, like the deeper you get into this connection, the harder you have to sort of know going into it. Like the deeper I get into this connection, the harder it will be for me to believe something bad about this person. And so
Yeah.
before you have too many late night text chats and you start to build too much connection, you need to talk on the phone, do a video call, and ideally really meet up in person, right? Safely in public, share your plans with somebody, all
Sure.
those caveats. But be suspicious of somebody who isn't interested in the real life version of this. I would just say candidly, in this reality we're living in, I don't think it's really worth trying to date somebody online who supposedly lives in another country, things like that. There's just way too high of a chance that they're not real. And then as soon as you start interacting with them, hopefully you've had those opportunities to meet in person. And if you haven't, I would just, and again, kind of goes back to general, hopefully good dating advice of if you've just started talking to somebody and they already need you to wire them money or they already have a great investment for you, you should just be skeptical, even if you've met them in real life.
I don't
Maybe
think
they're just
so.
not a great person in the first place, but really trying to
Probably
keep your
not. Yeah.
money and financial situation private for long enough that you feel like you really have made this true connection. And if some of the classic ones, oh, it's a service member and they want to come home, but they need funds. We help our deployed service members get back as a country. They do not need your personal help. Don't fall for all of these panics and things because they're probably not real at all. And that's just really not going to be, it's so high risk and there's not going to be any way to get your money back once you sent it to somebody who wasn't even who they said they were on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how this has turned into like a dating advice episode. It's just really interesting.
Some pro tips over here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's move on then from just the whole romance topic. But what are some of the other types of scams that you're seeing the most right now at Navy? I know that I believe there actually a press release came out from Navy where there was a lot of impersonation fraud going on, or I know that happens to other credit unions as well, where the fraudster will contact members pretending to be their credit union and then trick them into giving out some personal information. We're also in tax season, so I know there's a lot of like tax scams going on. I'm just curious to hear from you. What else are you seeing as far as top scams and fraud right now?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, there is absolutely every flavor of impersonator scam. So whether they're impersonating the IRS, the Sheriff's Department, Navy Federal, there's always somebody. The version with Navy Federal, and we definitely address it, and you can always see it on we have a Making Sense blog, and we constantly keep up to date what scams we're seeing the most of because we really want to make sure our members are empowered. If we see something that's big enough, we'll send it out on the app so our members can definitely see it. But the impersonation one that I see that I think is it's so frustrating because it continues to happen, but it'll be one where the fraudster will transfer money into the member's account. So they've already gotten some data off the internet, somewhere there's been some compromise and they're putting some money. So for example, if they put $10,000 in my account, then I'm going to get a call. It's going to be spoofed. It's going to say Navy Federal on my phone. I'm going to answer and they're going to say, hey, listen, there's fraud on your account and the bad guy put $10,000 in your account. Can you believe it? Can you help us fix it? And the way they'll want me to fix it is to Cash App it out to some random person. And I always feel so frustrated because I just want to say, we're better than that at Navy Federal. And I'm sure all of my credit union peers, they're also, if we were to do something wrong or we saw money move into the wrong account, that is our job to fix it. So that would be sort of my message to members of trust us. When we have a problem, the way that we're not going to ask you to Cash App some other random person as a way to fix some problem. We're not going to, the FBI is not going to be asking you because there's a crooked teller at one of our branches and you're trying to save the day. Like, take all those dramatic hero stories and say, these are obviously malarkey. This is something that Navy Federal can fix. So that is the one that just really persists because that money that they moved over into the member's account in the first place they're already stolen funds. And now they're moving them and they're helping to kind of keep this shell game of moving the money quickly so that they're not able to have that money clawed back. But that is the one that comes up time and time again.
Yeah.
Can I ask you mentioned the Making Sense blog. What's the URL on that?
I'm sure that Haley can send it to you, but it's navyfederal.org/makingsense. But if you just go on navyfederal.org, you can search scams and you'll get like 5 different articles. We have one I know that you might ask later about elder fraud.
I want to include all of that in the show notes. So, this is great. Okay, I got a last question for you here in this main segment. With elder fraud, that is continuing to be a nationwide concern, even worldwide, I'm sure. But what are ways you all in Navy Federal are specifically protecting your older members out there?
Sure. So we do have a special article that is within Making Sense specifically about elder fraud, and we can make sure we get you that URL. But so we have resources to help elders know sort of ones that are specifically there. We're always making sure that we have opportunities to ask those key questions. We have additional resources in terms of how we report scams when they happen to elders. And most likely this will be done by a branch because that tends to be who knows our members well enough, but certainly all our MSRs are all empowered. But we can also reach out to whatever your local government's version of elder services are so that we're able to say, hey, we think that there might be something not quite right. Lots of times this comes in the form of, our members, like I'm sure many credit union members, like we have a relationship with them. So maybe somebody's been coming into the branch every week or two for many years. All of a sudden they have a caretaker now and then fishy things start happening. That's where we really try to make sure we go the extra mile to if there's any authorized users on the account that we're able to contact or elder services, whoever the case may be, but really looking to make sure that we say, hey, something doesn't seem quite right. Same thing with the scams and really making sure that if we see those new behaviors, you've never done this with your money before, it really doesn't make sense. where are we going to advise you, or when are there enough red flags that we're going to actually go ahead and stop you? But I'd say to me, this is always really a community effort. I know AARP and others do a lot of really great work to help support scam victims. So there's a lot of work going on in this area, but I think the biggest thing is, how do you make sure that the elders in your own life are not lonely? They know they can talk to you. Lots of
100%.
times, I do think we've talked a little bit about AI and things like that, deepfakes. And for the grandparent type schemes, this is a great place to go back to basics. So have that family code word. This actually happened to me. I was probably 2 years into working at Navy Federal, and my grandmother called me to say, I just got a call from your brother. It was the classic, he'd been drinking and driving. There was this whole problem with the police. And luckily, she's enough of a New Englander, when they couldn't name what county they were in Massachusetts, she was extremely suspicious. And so she called me. She's like, that doesn't sound right, does it? I'm like, it doesn't sound right at all. Did you even call my brother? And then she's like, no. I was like, what? Well, give me 2 seconds. Let me call him. So I called him at work. He's also, why is my sister calling me in the middle of the workday? She never does that. So we quickly got it fixed, and it didn't turn into anything bigger. And we were really lucky. But I think on a different day, it certainly could have. But something like, so my brother and I now, we have a family code word, so that, hey, if something ever seemed not quite right, what's that thing that we could say that no matter how much it sounded like me, no matter how much the story was terrifying me that something horrible had happened, or even that I made a horrible decision, what would be able to be that thing that breaks through all the best deep fakes in the world? Don't know us as people, don't know our family relationship, don't know our code word. So I think going back to just like the dating example of, make sure somebody knows what you're up to so that you can have someone to bounce their ideas off of. Make sure you talk to your own family about these scams, so you have a plan for how you could break that spell if somebody were to get one of these phone calls that really puts them in that vulnerable place.
Dang, Carrie, you're doing some incredible work in a really screwed up world sometimes, but the world can be very beautiful. And I appreciate everything that you're laying out here.
Thank you.
And the work you're doing, because now we got to move on to the second part of the interview, which is all about Carrie.
Ooh.
Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
Okay. Yeah, this is, we always enjoy this. Dietrich, I remember he had a good time here too. So you just mentioned New England. That's kind of my first question. Where are you from? What's your hometown?
That is never an easy question, because I am a military brat. So my parents met.
Got it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have been a member of Navy Federal since 1993. But my parents met doing ROTC in college. My mom was in the Marines. My dad was a Navy pilot. So we moved around a lot when I was younger. But my mom's family is from DC. My grandfather was born and raised and lived there for 99 years. My dad spent his high school years also in Northern Virginia. So we've come back here time and time again through being stationed a variety of places. But my parents still live in Burke, Virginia. So Northern Virginia, Burke is where they live. I live just about 20 minutes away, but this area is home to me.
Oh, very good. And you said you've been back in DC area for how long now?
Ooh, a long time.
Long time now? Okay.
Yeah. I went to college in Charlottesville, and then I did 3 years in Hawaii after college, because, it's what my parents did, and it seemed like a good plan. So I did that, but then I moved back to the area.
May I ask, do you know how many schools you went to over the years? Like growing up? Like how many times you moved?
5. From elementary school to high school, middle school, there was 5. So there was, thick of it was at my dad's last tour. So he was at the Pentagon, and then his last 2 years we were stationed in Corpus Christi, Texas. So I got the opportunity to go to, the final school in Virginia, 2 different schools in Texas, and come back to a new school in Virginia. But I was very lucky. We moved back into the same house. So despite all the moves, I actually have some friends I've known since elementary school, and I'm really lucky that I feel like I still have a strong sense of home, but have definitely been around the country a bit.
Love that.
Great.
Awesome. Can I ask a follow-up question? I think you said lived for 99 years. That was your grandfather?
Yeah, he was a Marine Corps veteran.
Oh, wow. Oh, so he lived there his whole life then. In other words, so it was like born and raised and whole life, or home base.
Yeah, with the exception of World War II.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's fantastic.
That's some nice, longevity in your family then. That's awesome.
Yeah. And any DC area locals know there's a big distinction if you're really from DC or not. And I personally am from Virginia, but he was very much from DC.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So next question, it's what was your first ever paid job? But I'm thinking you've lived in so many different places. So I'm wondering, what was that job? And then also, where was it? What city was it in when you had your first job?
Well, I certainly did my fair share of babysitting and pet setting, but my first official job was officiating. I used to referee volleyball, so that was my first one. I did that all about in Fairfax County, and then I refereed in college as well for intramural sports department.
Wait, what was the team or the league? Was it like junior high, high school? What?
Yeah, so I would referee travel volleyball for any big travel volleyball fans. Usually we sort of
Great.
referee our own tournaments. So the different teams, we would referee our own tournaments. And then it was down at UVA, our intramural sports department. Not as many women working there as men. So having somebody who actually knew
Sure.
all the rules of volleyball, that was the way I talked myself into always getting to have a good job down there. So, yeah.
Oh, my God. Did you play volleyball then? I assume.
I did. Not that well, but I did.
Okay, great. That was my next question. That's totally fine.
Track was my thing,
Okay.
but volleyball was the
Oh,
one that
wait.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. What did you do in track?
high jump, pole vault, and hurdle.
What was your favorite?
High jump was my great passion. Jumping of various kinds.
Oh.
That's what I basically did in high school. I studied and I jumped over stuff in various sports.
That's
That's my favorite quote from the interview, I think.
Yep.
I'm sure you can still find my mediocre track results online if you look hard enough.
What was the high school then that you did all that, or was it multiple?
High school was all one spot. My dad was out of the Navy by then. It was Robinson Secondary School in Fairfax, Virginia. And my dad actually went there
Mascot?
too.
Oh, okay.
Robinson Rams. Yeah.
Rams. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
All right. You answered most of my questions, so I love that. Go ahead, Natasha. You're up.
Okay. So we are still kind of getting out of winter, probably have dreaming of summer on our mind right now. But wanted to ask you, just with summer coming up sort of around the corner, if you're looking back, have you had a favorite summer in your life that you think about that makes you nostalgic, like thinking about childhood? Can you describe that for us? We've thought of this because I think we did a special summer episode last year. So we talked a lot about like summer nostalgia, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So looking back for you, what was like your favorite like summer that makes you really nostalgic?
That's hard to pick for me. I feel like I was very lucky to have a lot of good summers. For me, summer is always about water in some way, shape, or form. I did
Mm-hmm.
swim team growing up. I love a family trip to the beach.
Okay.
One really great summer, I got the chance to go with one of my best friends and her family to Finland, and we spent 2 weeks at a lake out there, and it was just
Cool.
really incredible. The first
Oh,
time I got to
wow.
see, the midnight sun and all those kinds of things, but it was really great. We'd take sauna and you take it up to the hottest temperature possible. Her mom made us become true Finns and go up to
Uh,
100 degrees Celsius, and it feels like your eyeballs are going to roll out of your face. And then you
oh
run
my
down the
God.
dock and jump into the lake where all the steam just comes right off your body. So that was probably one of the best summers.
That's fantastic. What year was that?
2003 or 2004.
That's
Maybe
good.
2004 actually, because it would have been
Hooray,
before.
2003, 2000.
Yeah.
All right, sticking with your childhood here a little bit. Carrie, what was the first album, CD, cassette, piece of music you remember buying or listening to?
I did laugh when I saw this question because the honest answer is a cassette of Billy Ray Cyrus, the whatever album had Achy Breaky Heart on it.
Oh my
Fun.
God.
Okay.
Now, I have to stop you for a second.
Oh no.
Did you see that Miley Cyrus is doing a Hannah Montana anniversary show?
That's so great. I'm a little too old to be a true Hannah Montana fan, but I appreciate
Understood.
the hustle. That's so great.
But
I
he
saw
just
that.
showed up today on the Hannah Montana set.
Ooh.
He hadn't been there in forever, and I was like, "Oh my God, is he still relevant?" And then
How
you just
funny.
brought him up, and so I think that's really funny.
There he is.
That's
too
funny.
So,
fun.
did you know all the
Okay.
words? I assume.
Oh yes, but I'm a terrible singer, so I will leave you
Oh,
with
I
the fact
don't.
that yes,
I'm
I
not
did
going to
know.
ask.
No
No.
demonstrations.
Okay. Well, and then my last follow up: did you actually line dance to it?
We definitely. I was more of the square dance in PE class era.
Okay, great. That's fine. Great. Oh, I love it.
That is fun. And that's also another first because we've been collecting a list of all of the music pieces that our guests bring up on the show. So this will be a first one, and we're going to make a Spotify playlist at the end of the year. Achy Breaky Heart is going on that.
Achy Breaky Heart.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, final question today, Carrie. We always end with this classic question. What was the last movie that you watched?
The last movie that I watched was Mamma Mia.
Oh, okay.
I'm terrible
The
about
first
keeping
one?
up with
Okay.
movies.
Was it your first time watching it, or?
Certainly not. No. It is a
Oh,
family
okay.
favorite in our house. My kids
Okay.
Oh, okay.
love to sing to it. So we have really enjoyed many viewings of Mamma Mia, but it's definitely a favorite of mine.
Did you see the
Fun.
musical as well on Broadway or anything?
I haven't, but my kids are getting old enough that maybe it's time for us to take a
Oh,
little trip and make that happen.
Oh,
it absolutely is.
yeah.
You guys will have a blast at it if you love the movie.
Oh yes. And we love musicals of all kinds, so I think they would really love that. Newsies is their other favorite for a slightly.
Oh, that's a great one.
But I have seen the play of the Newsies, and it's fantastic. So, and they would love to see that.
Yeah, it is. Oh, Mamma
Cool.
Mia.
Okay.
Good call.
Yeah. And well, I guess that'd be in New York, right? Like you're not too far. I guess you're talking about maybe a trip to New York to see.
Yeah, take the train.
Yeah,
we're a train ride away. No problem.
Awesome.
Okay.
Mamma Mia.
All right, we'll be putting that on the list as well. Yeah. Okay, well, Carrie, this was a lot of fun and really interesting. I absolutely love the fraud, like the tips. I would say, especially the code word for the families, the code, and it's like a reminder, like we have to keep something secret, like don't post every single secret. You have to keep one to keep yourself safe, right? I just love that tip. I think that's awesome. Okay, well. Carrie Foran Sepulveda, Vice President of Fraud and Physical Security at Navy Federal, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Thank you, Carrie.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for downloading today's show. Please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times in all the normal podcast places. And please share the episodes with everyone you know, coworkers, friends, family members. Just don't share it with that person you've been talking to on Match.com who seems suspicious. We don't want to be getting out there to those people. Just don't share it with them. Everyone else, though.
Right. And feel free to rate us 5 stars. We love that. As always, thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next time for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.